Do I have to? Oh, okay. Live video starting. Yeah. Hi, this is John Licata, and it is Tuesday, and this is Licata Live, and I am your host today. So, a couple things. The primary thing that I wanted to mention is what's going on in the market. Um, it is it has been a challenging market for several years. This year, even more challenging. Our team has been selling a lot of houses. We seem to do a little better than what the market always produces, but it's definitely not as strong or it's different. Um, just to give you a couple points, we've probably done 30 open houses in the last month. It's a lot of open houses. Um, I would say total we've had probably 40 groups through the 30 houses. That's not a good number. Some of those houses were open and there were no shows, no one came. Some of them I did one this weekend and 12 came, like 12 folks. That's a good open house. But it's not consistent. Typically you have an open house under normal market conditions with normal buyers activity and you're going to have, three or four or five couples groups come through. Some of them are nosy neighbors. That's a good thing. That's not a negative thing. Nosy neighbors who are curious about what's available in their market. Um, but it's really been an odd mix. And we had an open house, a townhome that recently in Orange County went on the market and it sold through the open house. As a result of the open house, it sold. They were the only folks that came to the open house and they bought it. So open houses can be effective, but it does take a lot of time. It does take a lot of effort. We're fortunate is that we have a large staff to be able to cover all these. If you have three or four listings at the same time, how do you get one open house done when you need to get four open houses done? So that's one aspect of it. The other aspect, it's like three different economies. So you have the entry level folks, the lower priced homes, below median price point, young professionals, young families. Hey, they want to get out of a rental, they want to grow, they want to be in a better spot. And often what we're finding, they have the income to qualify, but they don't have cash. They don't have money. They have income, but they don't have money, so they'll qualify for the mortgage, but then they need help with closing costs. And then you have the other extreme of the high expensive houses, the $1 million houses, which there are in our market. And for a while, that was happening. People were feeling good, and those homes were selling, and they're still selling. But you have a portion of, say, the haves, the people that have money and have equity and are able to do it. But with all the pause, all the smoke in the economy, all of a sudden they're slowing down a little bit. They're like, wait, we want to wait until something happens. People typically buy when there's a change of life circumstance and something good happens. They've got a promotion, they have another child, so they move from the condo to the townhouse, from the townhouse to the single family home. Or they've had a great career, they live in Northern Virginia, they've done well for themselves, and now they're looking for a place to maybe have some fun, a weekend house. A lot of different circumstances in our market, but it is a bit of a challenge right now, and I think until things settle a little bit, I thought things would have settled by now. I thought interest rates would have come down right now, In fact, last week the interest rate was as high as it's been since before the last presidential election. Generally, when you have a presidential election, um, something happens good. Like whoever wins, there's a positive thing happens, and there's a lot of positive activity. We really didn't get that. And then we were waiting for the interest rates to drop. And I thought by now interest rates would be under 6% collectively, and they're not. And I don't see anything that tells me the people I listen to who are a lot smarter than me, um, the economic forecaster, the mortgage leaders, it's not happening. But when it's stabilized, whatever it is, that's better than up and down and up and down and up and down. So that's sort of my sense of the market. There's a lot of inventory. If you are looking, you have more choices now than you've had since 2019. Since really you have there's a lot of at different price points for you if you're able to do it. So that's a positive. That's a positive. My company has a lot of inventory. That's a good thing. That's a lot of inventory. It's also a bad thing because you want that inventory to turn over. You want to bring people in, and all. But with some of the smoke that's going on in the economy, it's not happening as quick as you want. I think last week we had four houses go under contract by either listings and buyers. Where normally this time of year we're selling five or six homes in a week. So it's still good, but it's not as good as what we expected and what it can be. But if you are a buyer right now, you have opportunity to buy something and have choices. If you're a lister, if you're selling your home right now, you have a lot of competition, so you can't take that for granted. You got to make sure your house is well positioned in the market, that it looks good. You can't just expect that it's going to sell on its own because the house down the street might be a little nicer and priced a little better. So all things to consider. The last thing I want to mention is I've got four tickets to an upcoming Fred Nats game. Now, some of you folks have taken advantage and used our seats at the Fred Nat. We've got some of the best seats available at the wonderful stadium. If you've been to the stadium, if you haven't been to the stadium, it's you know it's a really fun experience. By the time it's game time, the sun isn't on you. We're in a nice shady spot. We have great seats, sort of not behind the catcher, but um, on the first base line between the dugout and the catcher. Great, really great seats. We've had the seats since we were founding ticket holders for the Fred Nats, and it's just a great time. I generally go with my wife and my grandkids to one or two games a year. We've only been to one so far, um, but we have tickets, either two or four, for Friday, June 26th. It's a 6:35 p.m. game at Fred Nats. They're playing Wilson, and you can't do better than that. Send me a text at 703-928-5467 with your name and if you're interested, or you can call our office at 703. I don't even have our office phone number off the top of my head. Just text me or call me at 703-928-5467. I'm having a young man's moment where I'm forgetting myself. I don't think they're a young man's moment, but for me, it's a young man's moment. Thank you so much. I appreciate you following Licata Group, and hopefully you got something out of this. And hey, take advantage of the seats. Take care.